Hello and a warm welcome to Federal Special Program Capital Beat. Now, the Election Commission on Sunday asserted that the special intensive revision of the electoral rolls in Bihar was being implemented smoothly at the ground level and there is no change in the instructions. Now, the Chief Electoral Officer of Bihar, Vinod Singh Gunjial, on Sunday clarified that the revision of voters' list will be carried out as per the EC directive on SIR. The voters can fill up and submit their enumeration forms to the BLOs till July 25th, but they can submit their documentary proof even during the period when claims and objections are raised in the month of August when the draft roll will be published. Now, the existing voters will have the time to submit the documents even after submitting their enumeration forms. All activities related to SIR as per ECI directive dated June 24th said that the Bihar CO reiterating that the EC clarification has come in the wake of advertisements issued in the some newspapers. Now, was this a confusion because some of the Hindi newspapers carried an ad where it clearly said that you can submit the documents later? And what happened? The political parties claimed that this is a major rollback and they have eased out rules regarding the SIR. But the big question is that where is this entire process headed to? What we are hearing, there's a bunch of petitions now, almost like 10 petitions which have been filed. And the first, of course, was from the Association of Democratic Reforms, which filed the petition. But where is this process headed to? We do not know as of now what the court will say. What I'm told just now is that the court will take up this issue on July 10th. So it's not far away. But how do we see this entire process? Joining me this evening is co-founder of Association for Democratic Reforms, Mr. Jagdeep Chokar. Mr. Chokar, thank you so much for joining. And you were the first ones to file the petition uh, on the special intensive revision of the electoral rolls in Bihar. When you saw this entire process being unfolded, and you've been following the election petitions very, very closely, you've been working on the election commission and its workings for so long. Have you ever seen an exercise like this in the past, ever done by the Election Commission of India?
I have not seen this kind of an exercise. And earlier you had said, where is this whole thing going? I do not know. The so called, let me sort of step back a little. 3 days ago, there was an advertisement in Hindi newspapers in Bihar, full page ad, I'm told, which said voters can submit their enumeration forms only with Aadhaar card, or even without Aadhaar card. They can just sign and submit, and subsequently they can submit any documents they want. And then in the end, what the last sentence also said, that the decision will be taken based on available documents by the ERO. Now, till that point in time when the advertisement came out in Bihar, there had been no information from the Election Commission of India. Yesterday, I think sometime in the afternoon or evening, I don't know the exact time, the ECI issued a press note in which paragraph 3 of the press note reads, I will read it to you so that there is no mistake, and I quote, the electors can submit their documents any time before July 25, 2025. After publication of the draft electoral rolls, if any document is deficient, the ERO can obtain such documents from the electors whose names appear in the draft electoral rolls during the scrutiny in the claims and objection period. Now, what it simply says is that if you don't have the documents right now, please submit them anytime. It says before July 25 in one sentence. In the next sentence, it says ERO can obtain such documents from the elector anytime during the claims and objection period. Now, is July 25 the cutoff date, or is the end of claims and objection period the cutoff date? First of all, this is not clear. Secondly, uh, if the advertisement says you can submit your enumeration form without anything or with Aadhaar card, but the Election Commission press note says documents have to be given. The bottom line is documents have to be given either before July 25 or by the end of the claims and objections period. So the sword of Damocles is still hanging on
Right.
the prospective voters' heads by issuing that ad on which I don't know how much money must have been spent. And there was a video doing the round.
Hasn't this advertisement led to more confusion? I mean, whatever chaos was
No, no,
happening, and
it was, I believe it was meant to create confusion. It was
okay,
so obvious.
so it was
And then
deliberate. You are saying it was deliberate. You are saying
I,
it was deliberate.
I suspect
Okay.
because it did not clarify anything. It made matters worse. Subsequently, I saw a video report by a News 18 or News 24 correspondent, Rajiv Ranjan, who visited several villages and he asked people who are prospective voters, he asked BLOs, and the BLO said, we have been given verbal instructions. मौखिक आदेश मिले हैं. They had no written instructions from anybody. They were told on the phone or on a WhatsApp group by their supervisor that you collect as many forms as you can. Whether they have documents, whether they have photographs, doesn't matter. You write people's Aadhaar number, their mobile phone number, and get their signature. I think the intention seems to be that by the end of this period, 25th of July or whatever, the Election Commission will make a grand announcement that it has given and collected so many millions of enumeration forms. Now, even if those enumeration forms are incomplete, absolutely wrong according to their June 24th notification, doesn't matter. The numbers will be given out. So the
What?
advertisement and
Yes.
this press note of yesterday have not cleared any confusion. The documents are still required
Right.
either by July 25 or till the end of the objections and claims period.
No, but what I don't understand, Mr. Choker, I mean, after listening to you, many websites have reported that, the rules have been eased out. Then few of them are saying that this is a major rollback by the Modi government. This is a major rollback by the EC. How does one read it? Is it a rollback, or is it more of confusion to, befuddle the voters, befuddle the entire electoral scene in Bihar?
That's exactly what I said. That it seems to be the objective seems to be to create confusion. BLOs don't know what to do. Their supervisors don't know what to do. As a matter of fact, somewhere there was a video that a BLO had climbed the roof of some building and he said, I will not do it. I will commit suicide because he said, I don't have papers. I mean, there are some really hilarious situations happening on the ground. I recommend everybody to watch that video of Rajiv Ranjan, which is pretty long because he goes to 2, 3
Yes.
villages, he interviews several people.
Saw that,
Uh,
yes.
yeah, and I think that's very revealing.
Yeah. No, there is no doubt about the fact that there's too much of confusion on the ground, especially in villages. And I was reading this Indian Express. Now on the front page, Indian Express has printed a story today, and not just EBCs and minorities. There is disquiet among the upper castes as well. So a reputed paper like this on the front page, banner story, if it is reporting, it's something very, very chaotic, it seems. But Mr. Choker, now this entire apprehension about as to what is really going to happen if the voters are devoid of their voting rights, what happens if their citizenship is taken away, do these concerns still remain? What happens then? Where are these people going to? I mean, where will they be rehabilitated? And doesn't it create a totally different kind of a category of people who will not have citizenships, who will not have voting rights. And in a way, like what many people have said, that they will be like they will be a category of second class citizens in the country.
This is what it appears to be. And what might happen, which I read somewhere, that when the time for election comes, somewhere when in a village, let us say with a population of 500, voting population, if 400 people discover that their names do not exist in the electoral roll or they are not allowed to vote, I mean, this is a potential for social unrest. You cannot deprive a large proportion of people of their voting rights when they have been voting for the last 25, 30 years. Tell me, people who voted in 2024 Lok Sabha election, how can you tell them that you have to register afresh if their names were registered in the electoral roll after 1/1/2003? This presumed deletion of all voters registered after 2003 is patently illegal and it will not stand legal scrutiny. I am quite confident. Of course, ultimately, the Supreme Court will decide. And whatever the Supreme Court may decide, if the people who are registered after 2003 are not allowed to vote in this election, I think there will be a problem on our hand. There will be social unrest on a very large scale.
It's really scary if you're saying that there's going to be social unrest on a large scale and it can lead to all this. Do you think, now we do not know what the courts will say, but looking at the history of all the election petitions, whether it was the appointment of the chief election commissioner and other election commissioners, whether it was the VVPAT case, the attitude and the approach of the courts towards such cases, especially related to elections and election commissions, hasn't been very encouraging. Do you think, and are you hopeful that this entire process will be stalled? Because the political parties now, I'm told, are planning a chakka jam. They are planning to gherao the election commission on 9th of when all the India parties, I think India Alliance parties are going to gather and gherao the election commission. But will this pressure really act upon the Supreme Court?
Well, I don't think Supreme Court should work under public pressure. I think Supreme Court should go according to the Constitution and according to the law of the land. And in my opinion, the law of the land requires that this mass deletion of names of voters who were registered after 2003 is illegal and therefore it should be set aside. And one does not go to court, or at least we do not go to the court if we are absolutely certain nothing will happen. I mean, why would we go to the court? We obviously have faith in the court, although several decisions have not gone our way, but several have gone our way. The criminalization decision was taken by the Supreme Court not once but twice. The electoral bond decision was taken by the Supreme Court, although after declaring the scheme unconstitutional, they did not take it forward. That was a disappointment. And the appointment of election commissioners, the Supreme Court gave an outstanding judgment. But the parliament decided to make a law overturning that judgment. And the challenge to that law is still in the court. So the last word has not yet been said, but I am not able to, or I have no desire to predict what the Supreme Court will do. We believe we have a strong case, and there are also 3, 4 other people. After we filed our petition, I think there have been 3 or 4 petitions after that. There have been one by PUCL, one by
Yes. Mahua Moitra also has filed.
for current MP Mahua Moitra, Yogendra Yadav,
Yes.
and even RJD. So there are
No, today,
4
in fact,
petitions.
Congress, along with many other political parties, they have also filed a petition.
I am
Today,
not aware of that, but
yeah,
maybe then there are 5.
yeah.
So if there are 6 petitions in the court, And six people will argue against about this. So I'm
Hmm.
sure the court will listen to the legal arguments. And I say that again, court should not go by public opinion. Public opinion uh, rules in the parliament, in the system of checks and balances, in the Supreme Court, the constitution rules. So we'll see what happens.
But I'm really concerned about one thing, and that is, that what has led the election commission to undo their own exercise. What they finalized the electoral rolls. They did everything what they could, but all of a sudden, this idea dawned on their head that okay, on 24th June we should come out with a circular. Now, what was that compulsive reason which led
No, no,
election
no.
commission
No,
to
your question is perhaps, I think it is slightly wrongly worded. They have not done anything. They have chosen to do a special intensive role, a special intensive revision of the electoral roll. The question is, why have they decided to do this in a state which is going to be going to the polls in 2 3 months, in which there are floods, there is monsoon season, in which 25, 30, 40% people are live outside the state because they are migrants, and in which the literacy low levels, etc., are low. I mean, and to do this in 1 month or 2 months is where the mystery is. If they had done this in Bihar over 1 year or 2 years, it'll be perfectly all right. It's a very legitimate exercise. But you cannot do a legitimate exercise in, you cannot compress it beyond a point. So trying to do this in 2 months or 1 month is what is the problem, and to which I don't have an answer. I am as surprised as anybody else, and that's why we are in court. Only the election commission, they keep saying that they are authorized to do so. Arey bhai, they are authorized to do so, yes, at any point in time, but they are not authorized to change the criteria of eligibility for voters. A former election commissioner, Mr. Ashok Labasa, yesterday has written that the election commission has no right to check people's citizenship. It has to only, all the time that has happened in the past in all revisions of electoral rolls is, you start with the earlier electoral roll and check what have been the additions or deletions or what should be. Therefore, they should have started with the Lok Sabha 2024 electoral roll and done this exercise. Every BLO should have gone and checked by whatever is written in this for this household, is this correct? Is there a change?
yes.
Whatever was a change, if somebody had died, somebody had moved away, that should have been deleted. If somebody new has come in or somebody has become 18, that should have been added. So you take the given electoral roll as correct and then you move forward. Here, the difference is that they have decided that everybody registered after 2003 is suspect. I mean, their 24 June circular says for people who are on the electoral roll of 2003, before 2003, there is a presumption of citizenship, which means that for everybody registered after 2003, there is no presumption of citizenship. I mean, this is a very serious matter. And this is not the remit of the Election Commission of India.
Mr. Chokhar, now that the election Supreme Court will take up this issue, will Supreme Court look at the larger ambit as to what are the powers of the Election Commission? Like what you said, that Minister Lavasa has also written that Election Commission has no business to check on the citizenship of the people. Will Supreme Court take into cognizance this aspect as well? That is Election Commission breaching the powers it is vested with?
There are two judgments of the Supreme Court, one in 1995 and one in 2024, on this very issue, which say that the Election Commission should confine itself to doing what it is supposed to do. Those judgments actually say election commission cannot insist that you must show this specific document. They have to look at the documents that are presented to them, and on that basis they should decide whether the person is eligible to be a voter or not. They cannot decide whether a person is eligible to be a citizen or not. There are two judgments of the Supreme Court on this case, on this issue. It has come up in the past.
No, but is there any way out, sir? I mean, except for the courts, because there will be a legal battle which will play out in the courts. And now that the political parties have also picked up the cudgels, they're going on the streets. It probably might lead to a movement on the roads, because now it's just not about Bihar. It is about other states also, where they will replicate a similar exercise. This is what Election Commission has claimed. And so is it not very important to stall this exercise at Bihar only, just to put a stop at the Bihar level? Because if it gets done in Bihar, then which means that no one can stop it in other states as well.
Well, that remains to be seen. First of all, Election Commission has indeed said in its June 24 circulars that it will be done in all the states. The issue, in my opinion, is not necessarily stalling this exercise all over the country. I believe this exercise should be done, but should be done properly.
Okay.
It should not be done in a hurry, like it is being attempted.
Right.
So it is doing the right thing the wrong way.
No, so you are saying that it's a right thing, but the method of doing it is wrong. But the point is that, do you see this? Many people have expressed their apprehension that this is like the Notebandi which happened in 2016. And this is like a vote bandi, which we are seeing in Bihar. Do you also suspect that the elections could be stolen with this special intensive revision of the electoral rolls?
I will not comment on whether elections will be stolen or not, but I can say if it is conducted the way it is being conducted and the way the June 24 documents have said it will be conducted, if it is done that way, it will lead to disenfranchisement of a lot of voters, which will not be acceptable to those people. So there will be a serious problem on the Election Commission's hand and on the country's hand, because you cannot do this. So it's a question of, had they done this, let us say, after the end of Lok Sabha 24 elections. And again, it is not, well, there is a serious issue here which I think I slipped on. They cannot change the method of determining the eligibility of voters. That is again another illegal act they have done, which we have raised in our petition, that the Section 21, etc., give them the authority to conduct a voter roll revision, either general or specific or whatever, even special intensive, when they want, for reasons to be recorded. Now, they can do it when they want, that is correct. But they cannot change the rules of eligibility, which
Right.
are laid down in the laws of the land.
Absolutely.
So they have transgressed the law of the land in two very specific cases: deletion of names of voters and changing the criteria of eligibility. These are legally wrong. These have to be stopped, even for
Yes.
future and for all states.
Right.
But the process of verification and correction of the electoral roll cannot be stopped, should not be stopped.
True.
But there is a way of doing it, which Mr. Lavasa has very clearly said.
Right. One last question, and then I'm going to wind up the interview. That many people have said that in the past elections, especially if you look at the Lok Sabha elections and Maharashtra, then Delhi, then Haryana, where we all spoke about Form 6, Form 7, Form 8, Form 17C, that how the voter turnout was spiked up, and some kind of a trick was adopted to steal the votes. Many people say that this SIR has been brought in because the election commission knows that whatever stealing was happening or whatever theft of votes was happening through form 6, 7 and 8 or form 17C, all that is in the public domain. That is a trick now which is known to the people. So this is a new methodology to steal votes. What is your comment on that?
It is not impossible.
Okay, not impossible, you're saying.
Because this has not been done ever before.
Right.
And there are obvious flaws in what is being attempted in this short time.
Right.
I mean, the two legal points aside, other things are not wrong. But other things also need time to do. I mean, they put out a press note or something saying they had trained 80,000 BLOs in 3 days, beginning on 20.
And so also the volunteers, 4 lakh volunteers in 3 days, they have been brought into the process.
The circular issued on June 24th. And it gives a table where it gives the schedule of activities. Activities begin on June 25. And what are those activities? 8 crore, what are they called? Enumeration forms to be printed. They need paper, they need printers, they need people. They were already sitting and waiting. Then 80,000 BLOs were to be trained. 80,000 BLOs had been identified. They had been taken to their appropriate places for training. The training material was ready. The PowerPoint presentations were ready. Computers and screens were ready. The trainers were ready. And in 3 days flat, 80,000 people have been trained. This is just not physically possible. I have been involved in training for I don't know how many years. Training takes time. You can't train 80,000 people in 3 days. So the whole thing is absolutely, very, very difficult to swallow.
Right. Okay, so all eyes now on what the Supreme Court says. But for now, what we are hearing is that on 9th of July, which is just 2 days from now, the opposition parties, they are planning to chakka jam, and then they will try to gherao the election commission office. So we'll have to see how things unfold there. But situation is really chaotic as far as the situation on the ground is concerned in Bihar. Thank you so much, Mr. Chokar, for joining on the Federal. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.